Hey, good morning. It's morning, in fact, where I am, here in Dave's garage. One of my favorite places to be on the planet Earth, and I'm glad that you're along. 388 of you as of this recording, and I couldn't be more thankful and honored that you're out there, that you've subscribed, and that you're contributing, sending me ideas for programs and future issues and questions and just in general saxophone talk. It's not like this is a job, right? I teach saxophone for a living. Sorry, afford the garage here, but it surely isn't a job. Getting to play saxophone and talk about it all day, forget about it, right? I'm blessed. All right, hey, the alto today, con the 6M. All right, but that's not why we're here today. Why we're here today is to talk about a student I spent a little time with this week. Marvelous tenor sax player in an international touring band, has been for a long time. Really, really good sax player. And he doesn't listen to other sax players. Well, yeah, I'll take that back. He does listen to other sax players, but doesn't spend time copying or transcribing them, okay? This is not unusual, all right? This is not unusual. I often, when school is in season, we're in summer now, but I'll be invited to go and do workshops for jazz classes at high schools, and quite often I'll stand up and say, hey, how many of you listen to saxophone? And no hands go up. I say, okay, how many of you could even name a saxophone player? And no hands go up, right? So it's not unusual. This is interesting to me that people are wanting to learn saxophone, or trying to learn saxophone, but not listening to saxophone players and transcribing them. How's that working out for you? That's a rhetorical question. It means I know the answer to that already. Not real well. Okay, so the student saxophone sounded like a saxophone. I said, here's the deal. Here's why you want to play along with whoever it is you're listening to, and then record yourself, listen back, and see, do you sound, are you getting the idea, the tone, are you getting the sound of this person that you like to listen to? But first you gotta have somebody that you really like to listen to. It's gotta be a sax player that grabs you, that tone that just says, oh my God, you gotta do this, right? When I was 10, fourth grade band, by the time we were 11, we were kind of done with fourth grade band. I mean no disrespect, but a couple of buddies started a band and invited me to join it. And we learned records that we had to. There was no choice. We had to play that music, right? This is the era just before the Beatles. And there were so many good bands that were making surf rock and that sort of thing, and we had to, because it was too cool and the sounds were just so groovy. We had to. There was some kind of pressure in here that was not resolved until we learned to play those songs, right? And if you haven't got that going on with a sax player somewhere, or honestly, maybe even any other instrument, but a sax player. I'm gonna lean on sax player. If you're a sax player, I want you to listen to sax players. I don't want you to try to copy them. Well, you find somebody you really like, and this has been an uphill battle for me with many of my students. Why do we want to do this? Well, let's go back to the student in question. Great saxophone player, member of a killer band. Will not say the name of it, but really, really, really good. Went pretty far in his career. The horn sounds like a horn. The saxophone sounds like a saxophone, and that's all I'm going to say about it. There's no definition, there's nothing original, there's nothing that belongs to that sax player. It just sounds like a sax with air being blown through it. Quite, pretty well, but I mean, still, there's no definition. It's almost like when you meet someone and you realize that English is their second language, okay? They don't have the colloquialisms, they don't have the definition that you and I would have if, as speakers of the language, because we were full immersion as little bebes. We listened and we repeated, and we listened and we repeated, and we got feedback. That's how we get really good at it, right? Learning a second language involves usually a book and maybe somebody else, but not spending quite the full immersion or just getting, from A to B in the easiest way possible. That doesn't work when you're learning to be a soloist or a saxophone player, because you want to study the masters. Why, Dave? Why study the masters? Why go through all this heartache of trying to, like, say, put on a Tom Scott record and then figure out, hey man, my tone is like light years away, but I sure like his. How do I get there? Do I buy a new mouthpiece? No. Do I buy a new saxophone? No. Do I buy new reeds? No. Assuming you have good reeds and a good horn and a good mouthpiece to begin with. No, you bend to these things to your will. By playing, by listening, by playing, by listening back to yourself, okay? Why do we do this? Because players like Tom Scott have gone before us, and they have mastered the instrument and solved the problems that we are going to solve. Every art is full of problems. It has issues, complexities, things that have to be solved. Storytelling, filmmaking, writing, poetry, painting a beautiful painting. That's why art students go and study the masters in museums and try to copy them. How did he solve the problem of making those eyes look like they have expression? Right? Well, that's how we do saxophone. We listen to a great player and we say, and it's got to be one that, again, it's got to grab you right here. That tone has got to grab you. You can't be just like, well, yeah, cool. I'm going to listen because everybody else is listening to Charlie Parker or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I just threw that name out there. Charlie Parker, John Coltrane are the two, the icons of, but there are a lot of other sax players. There are a ton of, how about Lenny Pickett? If I could play one note like Lenny Pickett, I think I might retire. Tom Scott, same way, beautiful tone. Listen to the work he did with Steely Dan. And you think, oh my God, this guy is amazing. So anyway, that's where I want you to go. I want you to think about that. Learning sax, but you're not listening to or transcribing other sax players? Ask yourself, how's that working out? How's that working out for you? All right, that's all I got. davegoodsax@gmail.com if you have comments or questions. Anything about saxophone you want to talk about, ideas for future YouTube videos, love to talk to you. I've been so grateful to meet those of you who I've met already. My world has been enlarged, and I couldn't be happier here with my cool YouTube family. So here in the garage we are. If you're in the area and you want a one-on-one private lesson, bring your horn by and we'll do it. If not, we'll do a Zoom thing, okay? We can meet online too. All right. Anyway, thanks for being here. Catch you again next time in Dave's Garage.